Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grandstand Sports Data. In today's video, we're giving you the Western Conference Final betting preview between the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. We'll be giving you the statistical breakdown, the fundamental breakdown, and we'll be covering the whole video with betting analysis. So let's get right into it. So let's take a look at the statistical breakdown first. And as you can see, this is a really tight matchup on paper. But the key is how these strengths offset each other, right? Edmonton is explosive, elite in scoring chance creation, shot differential, and shot quality metrics. They're top five in Corsi, scoring chance percentage, and shot differential. And that's what you expect from a team that leans on high volume offense. But Dallas, they're built to absorb and counter. They have a top five ranking in power rating, SRS, and overall team defense. So they got that strong goal differential numbers and a clear edge in goaltending, both in save percentage and in finishing efficiency. The Stars don't need to dominate possession to win. They're built for leverage and cashing in their chances in keeping games tight. Now, the big edge for Dallas on the penalty kill and goaltending efficiency. If this series becomes special teams heavy or close late, Dallas gets the lead. But if it turns into a high tempo track meet, Edmonton's ceiling is much, much higher. So, from a betting standpoint, this isn't a side to smash, it's a style clash. What wins out, the Oilers' shot volume or the Stars' balance and structure? You're going to want to pay close attention to early momentum in game one. If Dallas keeps pace early, this series tilts toward the under in long game value. If Edmonton opens up, overs and alternate lines become more appealing. Okay, so here we've got two contrasting profiles when it comes to playoff fundamentals. We have Edmonton on one side, and Edmonton's edge is going to come from their elite forwards, right? You're talking about McDavid and Draisaitl. They are carrying massive workloads and posting dominant Corsi 4 percentage and plus minus, which shows their drive and play at even strength in the playoffs. Edmonton's top six forwards have been consistent play drivers for multiple seasons. And then when you start talking about Evan Bouchard, he's adding that puck movement and puck dominance from that blue line. So now we're going to look at the goaltending, though. Stuart Skinner, his goals saved above average, have been about minus 10.4. Huge red flag there, right? In the postseason. So that's weak goaltending, and that usually gets exposed. Dallas, on the other hand, they have a little bit of a deeper mix, right? They got Heiskanen, Robertson, and Rupe Hintz all bring balanced numbers. And while they don't have the high-end superstar shine just yet, unless you're talking about Mikko Rantanen, they've got less volatility across their lineup. Most importantly, I'm going to go down to the bottom, Jake Ottinger. He's a clear playoff asset, right? 21.8 goals saved above average and a very close to a 66% quality start percentage. So when the margin gets thin, that kind of reliability in net will make a difference. So how does this affect the betting? So if you're backing Edmonton, you're buying into pace and offensive bursts. So lean toward team totals, live overs, or even period bets when momentum swings. But if Dallas can weather the storm and let Ottinger steal a few periods, then Dallas at plus 1.5 for the series could have some potential value. Ultimately, playoff hockey is often decided by goaltending and mistakes, and right now, that looks like it's favoring Dallas. All right, so this is the classic case of style versus structure, just like we talked about in our last hockey video, if you check that out. So Edmonton absolutely owns the edge in volume-driven metrics, right? Corsi 4 percentage, shot differential, Corsi, scoring chances. Over the last 5 playoff seasons, those factors have generated real betting value, and they all lean towards Edmonton in this matchup. So that tells us the Oilers push pace, they create chances, and win games where chaos and high shot volume dominate. So if you're betting game totals or live over unders, this side of the board screams up tempo hockey. Now, Dallas, on the other hand, they're going to be leading in more disciplined and sustainable factors, right? Like SRS, even strength goal differential, and then also penalty kill percentage. These stats historically hold better in tight series. They point to coaching structure, good situational defense, and reliable play when games get tighter, the kind of traits that show up late in the series or in one goal games. So, from a betting angle, early in the series, you might find value backing Edmonton when lines are still adjusting to pace. But as the series grinds on and we see teams adapt, Dallas props, maybe even puck lines, or even those totals to go under might creep into value territory. The bottom line here is these trends show a clash in styles, and smart bettors will adjust their wager types as the series goes on. So let's take a look at the money line angles from both of these teams, or the money line trends from both of them. So from game 72 to 82, both Edmonton and Dallas took some losses against the number, but nothing extreme, right? But enough to show a bit of market volatility. That's not the key focus here, though, right? What is important is what we're seeing after about game 83. Edmonton's trend has turned sharply positive. They rattled off a string of covers and outright wins. And this is a team peaking late. They're pushing through previous resistance and outperforming expectations. That's a sign of market under adjustment, which is exactly where value lies. If the public is just now catching up to Edmonton's form, you could be getting undervalued prices for another game or maybe even two if you want to push your luck. On the flip side, though, Dallas flattened out after a sharp drop. They bottomed out around game 84 and have been fighting to regain positive territory. That's not necessarily a red flag. It can often lead to bounce back value, but it does tell us this team hasn't been exceeding market expectations lately. Or it could mean that they played some really good competition, and that is actually a fact. You want to be cautious laying chalk with Dallas if the market is still pricing them like the team that they were, though, in about game 75. The betting implications for this is where you lean on momentum and mispricing. So Edmonton is likely the sharper early series play, especially if you can still get decent numbers before the market fully adjusts to them. And then Dallas could offer contrarian value only if they drop a game or two and the public starts to fade them hard. So this series might shift fast, especially if game one goes to Edmonton. So be ready to pivot and look for live series prices or those game by game market overreactions that we've been talking about throughout this whole video. All right, so let's wrap this matchup with what matters most, how the books are pricing the series, and what our model thinks. As you can see from Edmonton, they're coming in as a solid favorite, laying minus 160 on the money line, and then minus 1.5 games at plus 120. So the books are clearly respecting their recent form and talent edge. Meanwhile, Dallas gets a plus 135 and the comeback. So they're showing they are a live dog, but still second fiddle in the market's eyes. Our model projects Edmonton to take the series 4 games to 2, winning 58% of those 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations. So that's not necessarily a blowout, but it's enough to back up the current line. And it even suggests there may still be some slight value on Edmonton before the price drifts even further. More importantly, both the model picks land on Edmonton, right? So not just to win, but obviously to cover the games as well. That tells me this isn't just about who wins, but how they win. If Edmonton gets control, their pace and possession advantage can stretch games and cover spreads, especially late when teams are pulling goalies. Now, takeaway for bettors here. If you like Edmonton, you're likely getting your best price early in the series. Once they take a lead, you'll be chasing juice the rest of the way. So if you're considering Dallas, the sharper angle might be spot betting them after a loss, not jumping into the full series line pre-flop. So this one sets up well for Edmonton backers, especially if you trust the model's confidence across both bet types. Now, if you're asking for my opinion, me when we did our early season, so I want to say it was the preseason, we ran our simulation of the model. We did all our calculations. I put in all my numbers for the preseason, and we actually had Dallas going to the Stanley Cup. And I want to stick with that. So I'm not necessarily placing a bet on that, but I'm kind of rooting for the model to get Dallas into that Stanley Cup. We're obviously going to give you a recap video from that Sim the Season video that we showed you guys in the preseason. So make sure to check that out. We'll just go through all the bets, teams to make the playoffs, who won divisions, all that good stuff. So we'll go through how the model did in terms of how much money it made. But that model, or this model here, it projected Dallas to get to the Stanley Cup. So in a way, I'm kind of rooting for that. If you're asking me for my pocket, what I'm betting, I'm kind of staying away from this. I think that it should go 7 games. I think that Dallas is, they may have. I think that both teams have that momentum thing. They have that momentum. Edmonton's got the ass because they didn't win last year. They got there, they got so close, they couldn't get it done. And I think Dallas, even though it was it might have been a round less than Edmonton, they still have the ass as well. They got close last year. They feel like they have the talent that's knocking on the door. So I see it both ways. I'm just staying away from this and just gonna enjoy some good hockey. So, like always, we'd like to thank you guys for watching. We hope that you got some awesome information from this video. Now, don't forget to subscribe to Grandstand Sports Data for more great shows like this one. Also, don't forget to give this video a like, share with your friends, and then leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win the series. That's all for now, and we'll see you guys in the next one.